Yeah, by the way, Ethan is literally behaving like Israel. This is like Israel style behavior. But the reality of the matter is, if anyone...
What does this even mean? What the f*** is he talking about?
I also want to make clear that I did not receive any support, financial or otherwise, from Hasan Piker. Hasan never even reached out to me privately to offer words of support. Speaking honestly, I found his indifference to my suffering hurtful, especially after he hinted he might help me behind the scenes. It felt like he wanted to receive credit from the public for him helping me without providing any.
That is exactly what happened, by the way.
I want to make several things clear. My trial date is 10/26/26, and I look forward to beating Ethan in court, while Casey and likely Frogan have caved to Ethan Klein.
Damn. She fucking tossed them under the bus, bro. Let's do the Kaceytron stuff now. Okay, so this is Hasan reacting to Kaceytron's apology. And the caption says, Ethan is literally behaving like Israel.
The Kleins made Kaceytron apologize and say stuff about you. Oh, awesome. Is she done? Is it over? Right. I hope she said I suck. I don't give a shit. She settled and threw you under the bus, kind of? What do you mean? Under what bus? Something about your indifference, but whatever. We shouldn't talk about this one, to be honest. No, great. She should have went harder.
Who is Kaceytron? Kaceytron has been a Twitch streamer for, I don't even know how long. Like 10 years? 15 years? I don't even know. I feel like she's pretty old school. Maybe not super old school, but maybe. I honestly don't know. I honestly think Kaceytron is like decently funny, but I don't know what happened along the way, but at some point she started to align with like Mike from PA. Like I'm pretty sure she's buddies with Mike from PA. I could be wrong, but she started jumping on that whole train, like the Twitch, like the Twitch Socialist Squad like group a few years ago. I don't know when that happened. She has like tweeted snarky shit to me about like paying Mike money that I don't own him or owe him. I look up at Hutchinson. Bro, this is from January of 2025. He's a Destiny bootlicker. What did you expect? This post deleted by the author. I think she was replying to Ogre Boy here. Ogre Boy, by the way, is still at it. He's still at it, you guys. This man is still live tweeting my streams. It's incredible. So I had never interacted with this person, but she also liked one of my tweets in about like Nick Merckx. That's a guy we don't talk about it anymore. It's a like supportive tweet in June or something like that. But yeah, anyways, I don't know what got her on the path of like hanging out with them. I don't know when that started, but it's whatever. Like if you watch her content, she's pretty funny. Like I have to say, I said this before too.
You think I give a shit? I want this legal bullying to end. You can say whatever the fuck you want about me. If it's gonna get Ethan Klein off your ass, go ahead. She had to say you said you will help, but did not help at all and just use it to make yourself popular. That's what they demanded in the settlement. That's so fucking sad. But hey, yeah, no, that's right. I'm a bad person. You can say whatever the fuck you want about how much of a fucking douchebag I am, how much you hate me in your settlement negotiations. If Ethan Klein is up your asshole, crawling up your asshole, hell yeah. Say I'm a bad guy, say I'm anti-Semitic, say I'm an anti-Semitic terrorist.
But that's not what she said. She said that you did not offer her private help behind the scenes, even though you strongly implied that you were going to do that. Dan Saltman tweeted out the clip last night. Let me find it. He's very obviously implying with this clip that he's going to help these creators behind the scenes. Very obviously implying that.
He has also admitted multiple times he wants to hurt you financially through them as if you were their legal guardian. No, I know. That's why he keeps saying like, oh, socialist, why won't he give these guys money? Trust me, if I offer support, you won't know about it. Okay? Beyond what I've done thus far. You will never hear about it.
Very obviously implying that he reached out to these creators. Just very obviously implying that. And then I guess he just fucking didn't follow through with that.
You think I give a shit? What are you, crazy? Yeah, I want this fucking insane. I want this insane torment to end. I'm glad that Kaceytron no longer has to deal with this fucking nightmare.
I don't know though. Like, I don't know. Like if I was in his position, would I reach out to like help all these creators financially? Well, maybe. I don't know if it should be expected that somebody in his position would do something like that, but like some kind of support, surely some kind of support, right? Some kind of support would have been probably the correct thing to do. Maybe that's money. I don't know. Like, but something, right? You know, maybe link their GoFundMe's on your page or yeah, you know, try to leverage your community to beef up the GoFundMe stuff. Just something, right? Like anything would have been the right thing to do, right?
They made her say anti-Semitism is on the rise in the left. Pretty vile people. I mean, I don't think a single person that looks at this statement is going to be like, wow, this is a sincerely written apology. No, they're going to fucking be like, well, since this is brought up, they made her apologize to Asmongold too. This shit's got to stop. Again, great. If you are getting your rocks off of basically trying to bankrupt a random person online, so much so that they might become homeless, and you make them shoot an ISIS-style hostage video in the process of mediator, and that's how you can get your rocks off, you are one of the biggest, most pathetic losers of all fucking time, torturing small streamers to get your fucking rocks off like the absolute loser that you are. Congratulations, you got your fucking legally mandated, court-mandated apology, and it wasn't even to serve any sort of justice whatsoever. It was because you had a lot of fucking money. You had a lot more money than they did, so you could bury them in a mountain of paperwork. Okay? No, you're in the right, dude. Everybody knows that's what real winners do. And the reality of the matter is, yeah, by the way, Ethan is literally behaving like Israel. This is like Israel style behavior. But the reality of the matter is, if anyone...
What does this even mean? I don't even, what are we even, what the fuck is he talking about?
If anyone actually looks at any of those statements whatsoever and turns around and says, wow, this is, you know, justice has been served here, they're already a fucking loser too. The funniest part about this is the idea that like Hasan used this to promote himself and his and maintain popularity. Yeah, it was a real popular thing, especially amongst the biggest fucking losers on the internet. Are you worried he will ever try to sue you? No. Why the fuck would I be worried that he would try to sue me? What can he sue me over? Nothing. No, he's too busy trying to sue whoever he can that he can bury in a mountain of fucking paperwork. If anything makes them look bad, it's the most forced thing I've ever seen. Exactly. Yeah, what's he going to do? Defame me and then sue me for not suing him for defamation? What are we talking about? Yeah, he's going to sue me for not watching the content nuke after he begged me.
We should watch the actual apology video and then we can read Denims. Denims wrote like a 8 paragraph reaction. But this is Kaceytron's video. We should review it.
I want to begin by stating I take responsibility for infringing the content nuke. The lawsuit was not frivolous. When I said the lawsuit was frivolous and based on misogyny, it was to garner sympathy, protect my own reputation, and retaliate against the Kleins. This lawsuit has given me a greater understanding of copyright protection, people's copyrights, and the importance of protecting copyrights in the online content creation community. It is important for the entire content creation community to respect the intellectual property rights of other creators, and I will adhere to the lessons I've learned throughout this process going forward. I also want to make clear that I did not receive any support, financial or otherwise, from Hasan Piker.
Oh, man. Wow.
Hasan never even reached out to me privately to offer words of support. Speaking honestly, I found his indifference to my suffering hurtful, especially after he hinted he might help me behind the scenes. It felt like he wanted to receive credit from the public for helping me without providing any.
That is exactly what happened, by the way. Exactly what happened. And he brought it on himself because he very clearly implied that he was going to help these people. He didn't have to say that. If you're not going to follow through, then don't. That's exactly what happened. Like, what she said was 100% accurate. He wanted the appearance of being like the good supportive guy protecting these creators against evil, Israeli Ethan. And then he just fucking didn't do anything about it.
As to the GoFundMe money, to the extent there are any remaining funds after I pay my attorney's fees, I have agreed to pay the remaining funds to the Kleins. The funds will not go to anyone else, including Denims or Frogan, to defend their lawsuits. For the record, I have agreed to cooperate with the Kleins in their litigation against the H3 Snark mods for promoting my live stream to the extent that I am able. I will offer my support, including testifying under oath to everything I have just stated, to help their cause. I also want to take the opportunity to acknowledge other misconduct and bad behavior I have exhibited online. For example, weaponizing the death of Asmongold's mother was inexcusable. I should know better because I have 3 disabled people that rely on me.
There was somebody else too. Oh God. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? There was another guy that is friends with Hasan. I think he has like a beard. He's like a taller, like not skinny, but more slender kind of person. And he said something about Asmongold recently that was like, whatever beef you have with someone, and however odious I personally find Asmongold's takes to be from time to time, there is such a thing as taking it way too far, bro. There is this person here. Did you guys see this?
Asmongold salutations. And again, RIP to your dad. So sad that he had to pass away, knowing that he left behind a piece of shit son like you. Goddamn. He failed right there, my man. I'm sure your dad didn't have a lot of failures in his life, but you are one big old fucking failure. And you could say, but I got money and I have an audience. Yeah, that's just more people that see how much of a piece of shit you are. Like, you've exposed your dad's failure to the whole fucking world.
Like, his dad, whatever you think of Asmongold, his dad just died like a month ago from pancreatic cancer. Like, you don't actually have to invoke people's dead parents that way. Like, it's just, even if your critique of Asmongold is correct, I feel like you take away from that critique by leaning into this like edgelord shit. It's just so fucking cruel, You don't actually have to do that. And I'm well aware that Asmongold himself, I think, he can be brutal. But man, like, you don't have to take it that far. The internet ruined people. They no longer have filters and don't realize thoughts can stay inside the head. And I think that social media kind of rewards people not having a filter, which is just really bad behavior. People are like, oh, what a fucking savage. You get kind of rewarded for it. You get social capital for going like really ham. But then you get conditioned from your audience who rewards you for that type of behavior. So you kind of get psychologically conditioned to just go super hard every fucking time. And this is all stuff that would not be happening were it not for the fucking internet, because it's just not, this is not a way to behave as a grown up, as an adult. I gotta say, like, I am glad that this person will not become financially destitute. I thought her behavior, along with all the other creators that piled on for the CPS thing. Wait, am I slandering her? Did she pile on to the CPS thing? I might be making assumptions here. I thought I remembered that she piled on to the CPS thing. I could be wrong about that. I have definitely seen her have some very harsh words for the Kleins. That whole thing was such a pile-on. I felt like it was such a pile-on, and it was so unnecessary. And so, I think it's probably good that I think it's good that she experienced consequences for that. At the same time, you know, I'm glad she's not going to be fucking destitute. I'm glad that they settled. I'm happy with that outcome. But the whole thing was so toxic, so unnecessary. But I think she participated in a really toxic, cruel internet pylon. And you know, I think it's good that there are consequences. There are some consequences for that.
Moving forward, I will do better. I also want to apologize to the crew of the H3 podcast, particularly AB and Olivia. I apologize for calling them cowards for not quitting their jobs. That was a shameful attack on two people who deeply care about Palestine and Palestinian people. AB, along with his wife Lena, have done more than I have ever done for the Palestinian people, including raising over $100,000 in charity. I recognize that they have actually made Palestinian lives better, and my online antagonism and trolling has not. I apologize to Ethan and Gila personally. I have said extremely mean and cruel things about both of them, particularly my misogynistic attacks against Gila that never should have been said. I also want to acknowledge the pervasive problem of anti-Semitism in leftist spaces. It should concern all of us. I condemn it and will not participate in it. To that end, I wish the Kleins success in enforcing TED Entertainment's copyright and protecting the legal rights of online content creators.
Oh, wow. Denims reacted to that. It's pretty funny. Nathan with $5. How can you pile on to a couple for so long without realizing you're the bully? Here's what I think happened, and tell me if you guys agree. They constructed a version of Ethan and Hila in their minds. They constructed a villain, is what happened. I don't know if there's a psychological term for this. They created a construct of the Kleins in their mind. And I think it all it all relates to the October 7th stuff and then the military action in Gaza. And there's some psychology there too, by the way. It was almost like the Kleins themselves were stand-ins for Israel. Do you know what I mean? It was almost like they were stand-ins for like Netanyahu. Because none of that was appropriate. None of that made any sense. This idea that Ethan and Hila were supporters of like stalwart supporters of Israel. It's just not true. It's just completely made up. There was so much evidence to the contrary. They had a personal connection to Israel, and that came out when they spoke about the issues sometimes. But it wasn't like it would not be accurate in any honest sense to describe Ethan and Hila as like these hardcore Zionists. None of that was true. Hutch, chat wants you to use your voice filters for reading Denim's posts. How do I simulate her voice?
I feel like that's honestly a little close to the way that Denims speaks. He didn't say that Nasrallah was based. I think that's pretty good right there. Okay. This apology, which I can only assume was somehow forced to extract a settlement, was painful to listen to. It is absurd and ironic that Ethan accuses Hasan of being a puppeteer while LARPing as a comic book villain in this way. While it is unfortunate that Ethan appears to have been able to exert control over her in this way, I am happy that Kaceytron was given the opportunity to minimize the harm to her family, avoid the risk of losing her home, and move on from Ethan's lawsuit. I want to make several things clear. My trial date is 10/26/26, and I look forward to beating Ethan in court, while Casey and likely Frogan have caved to Ethan Klein.
Damn. She fucking tossed them under the bus, bro. Why? What's with all the fucking thing up here? Like, I'm so glad she was able to move on from her life and da-da-da. Also, she caved, you know, like, it's so disingenuous. Like, I don't understand. This is crazy to me, man. This is crazy to me. I think these people just exist in their own kind of like their own little bubble where they're like the kings and queens of their bubble, and they just get all this validation from their audience and stuff. And then they end up saying stuff like this with no self-awareness. Like when you say, while Casey and likely Frogan have caved to Ethan Klein, it just totally invalidates all of this. Like all of this is just obviously bullshit, right? You're not happy that she moved on with her life, you know? You're not happy that she no longer has the stress of the lawsuit. You just said that she caved. Like you didn't have to phrase it this way. You could have phrased it a different way. You didn't have to do that. You're taking a dig at them by doing that. And the other thing too is like she's very obviously positioning herself as like they might have caved, but I'm gonna bravely soldier on. Like it's all very self-indulgent and self-aggrandizing, you know? I'm the real fighter here. Yeah, that's exactly what she's doing.
Settling like this is not an option for me. It's not an option for me because it would set a precedent that endangers the financial security of any streamer that creates reaction content. If you create content that involves commentating on videos on Twitch or enjoy consuming reaction content, you should be on my side. If you don't believe me, please read ahead and let me convince you. I watched and reacted to Ethan's highly anticipated content nuke shortly after it aired. Make no mistake, my coverage more than doubled Ethan's video in length. Ethan's video spanned roughly 104 minutes. I spent 230 minutes reacting to, critiquing, and commenting on his video and the content in it, during which I paused 210 times. This means I added 120% of the runtime in the commentary, on average pausing every 30 seconds to add 36 seconds of commentary. This commentary length is substantially more than Asmongold, XQC, or any of the many other streamers and YouTubers that watched the content nuke in full. As we know, Ethan decided not to sue Asmongold, XQC, or anyone other than the three of us.
Wait, hold on. Let's make some predictions. Is she going to say like, is it because we were supporters of Palestine? They love saying that. Ethan specifically targeted women who advocate for Palestine. I can't tell you how many times I saw takes like that.
But he wouldn't sue them. They didn't intentionally try to deprive him of revenue, and you said yourself that you did. This notion is frivolous and is a fabrication. Ethan claims he is pursuing his claim against me only because of some claimed malicious intent on my part. There are two statements that Ethan falsely claims demonstrate my intent, along with his conspiracy theory about collusion with Reddit moderators, none of whom I have ever communicated with. The first statement is my response to a chat message. I read it out, quote, "We're relying on you to stay live so we don't have to give the nuke views," end quote. And then replied, quote, "Yeah, I'm going to stream it. Since he's confirmed it's coming out today, I'm gonna stream it," end quote. I hope this is self-evident, but it would be bizarre for me to take that opportunity to bring attention to this group of people and how they actually should watch his video on his channel. It isn't my place. I don't care, and making a big deal out of it would only encourage the zealotry that Ethan is upset about. I merely acknowledged that I was going to react to it and moved on. Drawing a broader narrative based on a chat message I did not write is delusional.
Okay, but why would you read it out loud then? Like, how does that make any sense? Like, why would you read it out loud? Like, if somebody says like, "Oh, thank God you're live so we don't give him a view," and you're like, "Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna stream it." The logical inference is that you're like, yeah, no, I'll do that for you. That's what I'm doing. That's just the obvious logical inference. Relaxed Relic says, "Who gives a shit? This is so stupid." I'm sorry, this is straight up entertainment to me. I don't know about you guys, but
The second statement is a throwaway shill comment I said after the video before signing off. Quote, well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime if you like my content. End quote. As an aside, this statement is factual. Almost certainly, if someone watched my coverage, they had no interest in watching Ethan's video without the addition of critical commentary and never would have. Regardless, this statement does not characterize my intent. At most, you can say, this is a mean-spirited comment in poor taste. Making a joke like this is too far, and that Ethan Klein deserves more respect. We can agree to disagree.
Wait, hang on. What did she just say? At most, you can say this is a mean-spirited comment in poor taste. Making a joke like this is too far, and that Ethan deserves more respect. We can agree to disagree. So she said, well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, and throw a prime in my content. I mean, I don't pretend to know anything about copyright law, but that feels pretty malicious. Fair use is protected, obviously. That's long been established that fair use is a thing. There are protections. If you add, commentary, if you meaningfully transform the content. But if you're going out here and you're saying stuff like, and it's the combination of these two things that are not great, like reading out this comment. I don't know how she thinks she can kind of squirm out of this, because this is just so obvious. The person says, we're relying on you to stay live so we don't have to give the nuke views. And then she goes, no, I'm going to stream it. And then you combine that with if you enjoyed not giving any views. I mean, this is just so malicious. It's just so on its face, super malicious. But hold on. This is confusing to me. The last two sentences of this paragraph confuse me. Because she says, at most, you can say that this is a mean-spirited comment in poor taste. Making a joke like this is too far, and that Ethan Klein deserves more respect. Now, when she says that, it seems like she wants that to be a part of her defense. She's saying it wasn't meant to be malicious. She's saying, at most, you can say it's a mean-spirited comment in poor taste. So it seems like she's saying, well, that, it's not the malicious, I'm trying to maliciously steal views. It's that it was a mean-spirited joke. But then she says at the end, but we can agree to disagree. So doesn't this undermine that defense? Okay, so, but you don't think that. She's saying at most you can say this is a mean-spirited comment, but then she says we can agree to, so she doesn't think that. So so what is the defense? I don't really understand. Snowsource says, yes, she's playing word games as this was likely vetted by her lawyers. I mean, I would hope so, right? But I don't know. To me, that feels like she's undermining the defense a little bit there. There was a 100% chance this admission to guilt is going into the lawsuit, by the way. Good job, Denims. Genius. I just what is her defense, right? Oh, I guess this is her defense. Hold on. She says, as an aside, this statement is factual. Almost certainly, if someone watched my coverage, they had no interest in watching Ethan's video without the addition of critical commentary and never would have. Regardless, this statement does not characterize my intent. At most, you can say that it is a mean-spirited comment. I mean, no, hang on. There's no way her lawyers helped her with this, because this doesn't make any sense. There's a pretty glaring contradiction here, okay? She says down here in this paragraph, she says, almost certainly, if someone watched my coverage, they had no interest in watching Ethan's video without the addition of critical commentary. But then literally one paragraph before, she references a chatter who says, quote, we're relying on you to stay live so we don't have to give the nuke views. This person is very clearly indicating that they do want to see what was in the content nuke. Hello? Excuse me? I'm not a lawyer, but that seems like a pretty silly, obvious contradiction. I guess the only way you could squirm out of this is if you could say that oh, the person was obviously being sarcastic. I don't even know, but yeah, that comment alone, and the fact that she read it out loud and affirmed it, I don't know, man. I'm not a lawyer. Do not take legal advice from me.
I humbly request that we take this opportunity to question Ethan's framing of events and call a spade a spade. Ethan is bullying people who said things about him he did not like, and he can do that only because he has more money than them. In doing so, at least in his lawsuit against me, he is setting a disastrous precedent for our corner of the internet. And my hope is that others in our community with resources like Ethan's do not follow in his small footsteps. Please donate to my legal fund. Every penny has gone exclusively to court costs and fees and will go nowhere else. As stated earlier, my trial date is October 26, 2026, and I look forward to beating Ethan in court, ideally with your assistance. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
I mean, I have no idea how to evaluate her chances. I have no idea. But she talks about this bad precedent, but I generally don't think that YouTubers who do reaction content have much to worry about so long as they're not doing just blatantly malicious actions, like just very openly saying that the purpose of the reaction or affirming a comment that says that the purpose of the reaction is to deliberately siphon views. All right. This is Nicholas DeOrio doing a dramatic reading of some of the reactions on Reddit.
I can't begin to imagine how painful that was for Kaceytron. I hate him. I hate him so fucking much. I'm sure he'll get what's coming to him soon enough. Karma has a funny way of working like that. I actually giggled. It's so comically evil.
He just started insulting me viciously.
It will hurt no one but Ethan. I just said this. Super villain shit. What an absolute tool. Same lol.
Man, they are fucking pissed, bro.
You had negative downvotes. The disease survived. I think that this apology is going to go viral because of how...
I hate him. I fucking hate him. That's an issue. Why do you hate, like, content creators? That's a strong word, man. You might be too emotionally involved in whatever online thing is happening. I've crashed out a few times and used the word hate, but I generally don't hate people. Someone suggested to fast forward 25 minutes into the dramatic reading. Jesus, he did dramatic readings for like 35 minutes. Jesus. We can skip ahead a little bit, I guess. No, I don't hate Hasan. I don't hate Hasan. I don't. I hate the things that people do sometimes. I hate like negative outcomes. I hate like destructive actions and behavior. But I generally don't hate people. I mean, listen, I'm a human being. So there's some days I do have hatred coursing through my veins. Pure vitriol just coursing through my veins. I'm a human being like everybody else. I'm not fucking Jesus Christ. But on my better days, like when I'm having a good day and my head's in the right space, I generally don't hate people. I mean, all things considered, you know, considering what Ethan could have done to the extent that Ethan could have taken it with Kaceytron, she got off pretty fucking easy, if you ask me. A 3-minute apology, that's it. He could have pursued litigation to the point where they could have garnished part of her wages for the rest of her life. He could have done that. This is the funniest, greatest hits of crash outs. I mean, it is just like an unequivocal Ethan W. Like what a resounding, unequivocal Ethan W on this one. What did you think of Pisco's take? Pisco's take, I saw Pisco's take. I remember us talking about the lawsuits, and his whole thing the whole time was that he felt like it was disingenuous that Ethan was framing it like it was about copyright. But to me, it just feels like probably the wrong thing to focus on, I guess. Pisco says, alleged Ethan Klein settlement with Kaceytron further supports everything I've been saying. I'm aware that there is other litigation ongoing, that this case was never about protecting the React community from a potential lawsuit from Disney or Sony, Ethan's words, not mine, nor was it about helping enforce a standard on the React community, Ethan's central framing, not mine. This case was never going to establish precedent, legal or cultural, on the React community other than what is already well known in American life. Those with resources are able to vindicate their property rights using the courts. And there's nothing inherently wrong with someone protecting their IP, especially not in a strong case, which I've always maintained this was. What I take issue with has been specifically focused on the pretense that the lawsuit is about something greater than that, than protecting property and punishing and humiliating the defendants for their transgressions, perceived or real, against Ethan. In his video, Ethan constructs a fake narrative about protecting the React community, presumably because, one, he's aware that trigger-happy litigation bros are not usually well received on YouTube, especially when it's the big guy going after the little guy, and two, Ethan didn't like to give the answer, quote, because I don't like them, end quote, to the question of why them and not others. So we have to go through this absurd song and dance about stated intentional siphoning and malice and pretend that was what was going on. I personally think it's both. Like, I think Ethan was looking for a way to hit back against some of the people that participated in what I believe to be a particularly cruel internet pylon that was just insane. But I also think the fact that they were so openly malicious, the creators that he sued, that the fact that they were so openly, like, brazenly malicious, did bring up like genuine anger about siphoning someone's IP. I assume Ethan was genuinely pissed that they were so malicious about it. But I think it's both. I think Pisco kind of, he minimizes like this part right here when he says Ethan didn't like to give the answer, quote, because I don't like them, to the question of why them and not others. It goes beyond Ethan not liking them. Like, I feel like this really minimizes the impact that was made by those creators, like doing the pylon stuff that lasted for months, not taking any like reasonable steps to moderate their communities to prevent the kind of harassment that was going on at the time. That goes so well beyond Ethan didn't like Denims. Pisco goes on to say, just for calling that out, the response was insane delusion and deflections, disappointing because this is unlike the stand that Ethan took when he was sued by Bold Guy, a case which was well worth defending and did produce good precedent in the SDNY. See, now you guys tell me, I don't know anything about that original lawsuit, but I have to assume that the factor of maliciousness or malice rather was not present in that. Like, was Ethan telling his audience, hey, watch this content here so you don't need to watch it there? Because that's kind of the big thing here. It's not about React content, it's about intent to siphon. And for those of you who question whether the intentional siphoning rationale distinguishes XQC and others, just look at what Ethan said about XQC's conduct before. He called it intentional siphoning too. It doesn't distinguish anything. We all know the real reasoning. The real reason, stop coping.
The same. Why is it? You think it's crazy? Dude, the fact that you're using the same title and the same thumbnail is so parasitic. It's so shady. You are only doing that to siphon off views and confuse people. There's no other reason for that. Why would you use the same exact title and the same exact thumbnail? Explain that to me.
So are you more upset about the title or about the content of the video itself?
Well, it's the intention, dude. It's all together. You're intentionally confusing people to click your video instead of his. Why is it?
Isn't it very plausible? Like, very plausible that the reason why he didn't target XQC and Asmongold, Hasan, and other really big creators who watched it, or I guess Hasan didn't watch it until after before their conversation, or after, I don't remember. But XQC didn't, I mean, like, maybe the assumption was that he would have a much harder time in a court case against XQC because XQC did not tell his audience, hey, watch it here so you don't give Ethan a view. That seems totally plausible, right? What I'm saying is this clip I don't think necessarily contradicts Ethan's decision to target the specific creators that he did with litigation. Because there is a massive distinction. Like, it is totally plausible that Ethan felt like that would be a much more difficult case to win without that element of explicit malice, right? XQC also has 1,000 times the pockets. He could prolong the case indefinitely. I mean, that's the other thing too, right? It's like, yeah. Hutch, we keep telling Pisco that, but he hand waves it away because he wants to be contrarian against Ethan for some reason. But I think in the replies, Pisco said something like he was not like really aware of the lore. He didn't really understand Ethan's like beef with these creators that predated the content nuke. And it's kind of like, you know, I feel like maybe, you know, it might be a good idea to take some time to look into that, to understand like where the animosity comes from and the like the backstory to all this stuff, you know.
Bullshit of a statement, but for the general audience and Peto's fans, the people who feed off the misogyny, they just care that she's saying this stuff. Context be damned!
Insulting me viciously on Twitter.
Ethan really does remind me of Alex Jones now, a piece of shit human who does nothing but cause harm to the world, but will fundamentally never feel actual consequences for the damages that he causes people. Holy shit, dude. That's just because we're not there yet. You're only seeing this today, not the full trajectory. This is insane. Dude, I love this. I love this so much. This is so fucking fun, dude. I'm having so much fucking fun tonight.
I just like, bro, they are so fucking pissed about this.
It's extremely revealing they made her put in that part about Asmongold. This whole thing has been fan service for the incel Nazis that attack her incessantly. AB and Lena using their fundraiser as a cudgel.
Thank you for the $5.
Is fucking disgusting.
Is this like a video game theme in the background? What is this?
Much of that money was donated by the same people.
Hasan takes a picture with Kaya fan. Wait, what happened?
My phone with me. Can we just do screen photo? Here. Yeah. Ready? Hey, free Kaya. Free Kaya.
Jesus, I'll tell you what, the power of social media. Nuts. I'm a bit blown away that people are coming out to say hello to you. Well, it's great, like, it's deadly, you know, it's brilliant. Part of the world that happens.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
They call evil anti-Semitic snarkers because we're actually pro-Palestine and wanted to encourage that advocacy. Hasan gave $5,000. Yeah, 90% of that was us. The part's not related to copyright at all. It's, dude, this is so funny, dude. But will you also acknowledge the fact that like all the Creator Clash donations were because of Ethan Klein? No, you won't. You never will.
Okay, all right. It's a little dark. It's a little dark to me. Just how emotionally involved people on the internet get it, but like they are seething right now. But it's so extreme, like it's such an intense emotional investment.